The observation deck of the Galactic Council's flagship hummed with the whispers of 100 species. Amelia stood at the transparent viewport, her hands clasped behind her back, watching the swirling nebula beyond. She had been aboard for 3 standard weeks now, one of only 2 humans selected for the interspecies medical exchange program. Jackson leaned against the wall beside her, his arms crossed. "You feel it too, don't you?" he asked quietly. "The stairs," Amelia replied without turning. "Every day." It wasn't hostility exactly. The other species, the crystalline vexery, the towering Kryn, the fluid queller, treated them with a peculiar mixture of fascination and wariness. Humans were the newcomers, the strange mammals from a death world who had somehow clawed their way to the stars. The alarm chirped softly, announcing the beginning of the day's practical exercise. Amelia and Jackson made their way to the medical training bay, a vast chamber filled with simulated environments for emergency response scenarios. That today's exercise involved the Torati, a species resembling massive felines with 6 legs and bioluminescent stripes along their spines. Their young, called cubs, were notoriously difficult to treat, aggressive when frightened, with venomous barbs that extended from their forelimbs when threatened. The instructor, a vexery named Crystal Lise, explained the scenario in their chiming voice. A Torati cub has sustained injuries to its forward paw. Your task is assessment only. Do not attempt treatment. The cub's fear response makes intervention dangerous. Amelia noticed the emphasis. Assessment only. She exchanged a glance with Jackson, who raised an eyebrow. They entered the simulation chamber where a holographic Torati cub lay in the corner, whimpering. Even as a projection, it was magnificent. Its fur shimmered like molten copper, and its eyes held an intelligence that tugged at something deep in Amelia's chest. The other trainees filed in, forming a wide circle. They observed from a safe distance, making notes on their various devices. The cub's injured paw was wrapped in a crude bandage that had come loose, trailing on the ground. The creature tried repeatedly to stand, only to collapse with pitiful mewls of pain. "Note the defensive posture," one of the Kryn trainees rumbled. "Approach would trigger venom response." "Correct," Crystal Lise chimed. "Assessment complete. The protocol is clear. Contact the senior medical team and maintain distance." But Amelia wasn't listening anymore. She watched the cub struggle, watched it try again and again to stand on the injured limb. The bandage had completely unwound now, exposing the wound beneath. The cub's breathing had grown rapid and shallow. "It's going into shock," Amelia said. "The simulation will adapt," Crystal Lise replied. "Step back, please." Amelia didn't step back. She stepped forward. "Amelia," Jackson warned, but there was something in his voice, not fear, but recognition. He knew that look on her face. "It's suffering," Amelia said simply. She moved closer, her movements slow and deliberate. The observation chamber fell silent. Every species present watched as the human female approached the dangerous predator. The cub's eyes locked onto Amelia. Its barbs began to extend, a warning, a threat. But Amelia didn't stop. She lowered herself to the ground, making herself smaller, less threatening. She began to hum, a soft melody her mother had sung to her as a child. "This is not protocol," Crystal Lise said. But even the instructor's crystalline voice had softened with something like wonder. Amelia extended her hand, palm down, moving with excruciating slowness. The cub hissed, but the barbs retracted slightly. She continued humming, continued the slow advance. Jackson moved then, circling wide to approach from the other side. He didn't need instructions. He understood what Amelia was doing, understood the insanity of human compassion that transcended reason. "Easy, little one," Amelia whispered. Her hand was inches from the cub now. "I know it hurts. I know you're scared." The cub's luminescent stripes flickered, dimming and brightening in a pattern that might have been distress or might have been something else entirely. Amelia's fingers touched the soft fur. The cub tensed but didn't strike. Jackson reached them, kneeling beside Amelia. Together, they examined the paw. "The bandage was applied wrong," Jackson muttered. "It's cutting off circulation." "I know." Amelia's hands moved with practiced confidence, unwrapping the old bandage completely. The cub whimpered but remained still, as if it understood they were trying to help. From her belt, Amelia produced a standard medical kit. She cleaned the wound with gentle efficiency, applied a regenerative gel that worked across most carbon-based species, and began rewrapping the paw with proper technique. Firm enough for support, loose enough for circulation. The entire chamber watched in absolute silence. "There," Amelia said softly, securing the bandage. "That should feel better." The cub looked at its paw, then at Amelia. Slowly, tentatively, it stood. This time, it didn't collapse. It took one step, then another, testing the bandage. Then it did something that made every species present exhale in astonishment. It nuzzled against Amelia's shoulder, a deep, purring sound rumbling from its chest. Amelia smiled and stroked the cub's head. Jackson stood, offering his hand to help her up. They turned to face the others, expecting reprimand. Instead, they found something else in those alien eyes. Respect, wonder, perhaps even a touch of fear, not of danger, but of the inexplicable thing humans carried within them. Crystallis approached, their crystalline form refracting the chamber's light into rainbows. "That was not protocol." "I know," Amelia said. "I'm sorry if I do not apologize." The instructor's voice held a warmth Amelia hadn't heard before. "We have observed humanity for decades. We have studied your wars, your conflicts, your capacity for destruction. We forgot to study this, your equal capacity for care, even for something that could harm you, even for something not your own." A Kryn trainee stepped forward, their massive form somehow reverent. "We watch from distance, calculate risk, follow protocol. But humans," they gestured at the cub, now resting peacefully. "Humans see suffering and cannot look away." Jackson spoke for the first time since entering the chamber, his voice quiet but firm. "Where we come from, we have a saying. To whom much is given, much is expected. We were given empathy, given the ability to care. That makes it our responsibility to act." Amelia added, "Besides, protocol is important. But sometimes, kindness is more important." The simulation ended, the holographic cub fading into pixels and light. But the lesson remained, settling into the hearts and minds of every species present as they filed out of the chamber. A queller approached, their liquid form undulating with curiosity. "Tell me, humans, is this why you travel the stars? To heal?" Amelia and Jackson looked at each other and smiled. "We travel the stars," Amelia said, "because out here, there are more beings to care for, more suffering to ease, more lives to touch. And sometimes," Jackson added with a grin, "to show the galaxy that humanity isn't just about surviving. It's about making sure others survive too." Behind them, Crystallis watched the two humans depart, their silhouettes outlined against the starlight. The instructor made a note in their records, a simple observation that would ripple through the Galactic Council for generations. Humanity does not simply exist in the universe. They care for it. This changes everything.